This live presentation was produced in Ashland, Oregon by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. RVML relies on the support of our volunteers, members, and donors to organize and present these programs. For more information about this presentation, or to borrow, download, or purchase other recordings from our catalog, please visit our website at rvml.org.
The Gathering of the Peacemakers is an aspect of the art of self-healing. Every month we get together in groups here or in Williams, O'Brien. I've got some scheduled in North Carolina. We go around and we meet people and we gather together with the purpose of creating peace. However, the understanding is that peace on earth is the result of peace within the heart. So it cannot really be created on earth unless we, as the people of earth, have already created it within ourselves. It's inappropriate to ask a politician to be peaceful if we still have war with our neighbor, if we still are opposed to being a loving mate, or having acceptance for your own children in the hard areas. You know, it's sometimes tough. But to have acceptance for the difficulties, to have acceptance for the conditions of life that are unpleasant, that are ugly, that are less than optimum, that means you're putting your heart into it. And to put our heart into something is to create the change that results in peace. More can be accomplished by one single person becoming entirely peaceful within their being than an entire army in terms of creating peace in the world. One person, we've seen it. We saw the Buddha accomplish this. We saw the Christ accomplish this. We've seen other masters accomplish this. And there are thousands of men and women on the planet today who have accomplished this. They are at peace within themselves. And so we're all becoming that. And we're finding that peace by filling in the barren areas of our own hearts, by giving birth to love there, by finding within ourselves where we have that barren deadness or numbness or inability to have acceptance for. We choose again in that area where we have no acceptance, and we choose to have acceptance. We choose to love. We choose to be a peace-creating force in this situation. This is our opportunity as souls. Souls living in the bodies. We are here to create peace within first. And it cannot help but cause a reflection in the world to be more peaceful. It's impossible to have war when everyone is at peace. And we know that. We know that intellectually. Today is the day in which we are creating it experientially. This is the age in which men and women are creating this experientially. We are becoming living, walking examples of love and peace by healing the hurts and the pain and the rejection within our own hearts first. So the Gathering of the Peacemakers is all about doing that. We do the tough work. We do deep level healing work. And we give birth to love where love has not been before. So does that excite you? Would you like to do some of that tonight? All right, beautiful. Well, we're going to do that. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the concept of creating peace. Excuse me. Okay. And how we go about that. And we're going to apply a process called, a process that's part of the art of self-healing. It's called the healing octave. And I'd like for each person to think of a specific area that you would like to see some improvement on in your life. This is called intent to heal. Identify an area that you would like to see an improvement take place in your life. It can be large, it can be small. It matters not. Tonight you will make a stride in the direction of complete wholeness in that area. Does everyone have that intent? Okay. Next order of business is to create a symbol. And on one hand, left or right, doesn't matter, draw a circle. And in the center of that circle, place a very simple graphic design that represents you in your completely healed state in this area, the area of your desire, your intent to create. Very simple. All right, and then just draw that a few times. Draw a circle and that symbol 2 or 3 times, just to resonate your intent to heal into that circle. Now, when this is over with, you'll be able to do this again, and you'll notice that you will be adding more clarity, because there's 8 levels to this healing octave process. By the time we get down to the bottom layer, we will have created a depth of clarity and resonance to this issue that you will want to incorporate into this symbol. So you will resonate the vibration of that wholeness into the symbol. So in the future, whenever you get caught up in the hubbub of life and you want to get back into this peaceful space that you'll be in when this is over with, all you have to do is draw this symbol, and you'll notice your vibration will start to go back to this place. Okay, next step is to feel compassion for yourself, first of all, for having experienced the difficulties that you've been involved with that were associated to this challenge, the pain, the uncertainty, the difficulty, the terror, the anger, whatever it is. Feel compassion for yourself for having gone through that, for having experienced that. Surround yourself with this, like a light or a bubble of compassion, or a river flowing around you. I've noticed that oftentimes if we're judging ourselves harshly, it's very difficult to go forward and heal. It's difficult to give birth to love where we have judgment. So the first order of business in a healing process, once we've identified what we choose to heal, is to have compassion for ourselves. You know, we've come into this earth with less than enough light. It was designed that way. It was not a mistake, and we have not been punished. We're not here because we're bad. We're here because we're choosing to grow rather quickly. And limitation and amnesia of who you really are is one great way to develop the skill of choosing to be who you are, even though you see it not in front of you. This is the education and development of the soul. That's why we're here. You have chosen this path. And so you are walking this path and adding light to light, adding more light to your old light. And this is how we grow. We're putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, basically. We are putting light back to light, and we're adding them together, and we're coming back to the realizations that we started from, which is we are one with all life, we are infinite creative beings, and we are innocent by nature. We're remembering the unconditional innocence of all life. Those are the 3 fundamental root causes of every challenge, every imbalance, every pain, every limitation, is that we have forgotten our innocence, we have forgotten our infiniteness, or we have forgotten our oneness with all of life. You'll find that at the root of all roots. These are original cause issues. So have compassion for yourself first, and now have compassion for anyone else who is associated to this experience that you're choosing to heal. Just surround them with a blanket of compassion. Send them a river of love from your heart. And embrace them with compassionate acceptance. Deep breath. The breathing helps because it moves. Once you have a change of heart or a change of consciousness due to incorporating new light, the old paradigm is going to want to move back to its respective plane. There's emotional energy that's going to flow out of you. There's mental energy that's going to flow out of you. And that energy was housing the old perception. When you change that perception, this energy, you change the house that it lives in, the electromagnetic house. And as a result, the old house leaves and the new house is incorporated into your being. And it's that quick. And the deep breath helps to release that. So let's take another deep breath. Beautiful. So the next step of the healing octave is to own the reflection. It means to own the fact that this experience has been very reflective of the perceptions that I have held within. And usually that's a hard thing to come into unless we first have compassion for ourselves when we realize we created this. You know, we are very complicit in the creation of this matter. We co-created this experience. We either said yes or we said nothing. We either, it definitely was attracted to us because of our magnetics. It was definitely a reflection of some of our perceptions. So owning that allows those fragmented parts of us that have been disconnected by our disowning of it to come back and rejoin us. Some people call this soul retrieval. Well, we have bits and pieces of ourselves that we have denied that sort of hang out, they live out here, out there, or somewhere else far away. And this is bringing them back by owning them as the reflection that they are and giving them residence back within your heart. So we just say, I own this as a reflection of my own perceptions. Can we say that? I own this as a reflection of my own perceptions. Deep breath. Beautiful. Another one. Deep breath. Now, to own something usually brings up a lot of stuff. So let's do this. Let's put our fingertips together. Now, this again connects the 10 meridians, and it allows for an equalization of the electromagnetic charges about this issue to take place. As we say that, I own this experience as a reflection of my own perceptions. There we go. Now, as we take a deep breath, open the palms slightly. Then bring your fingertips back together at the exhale, the bottom of the exhale. Beautiful. Notice how you're just a little more relaxed. You just released something. You just healed something. You just went to another level deeper in your healing process with this event. Those yawns, the deep breaths, the extra breaths, that's release work. Do it again. Beautiful. A little more relaxed. Notice that? All right. Now, the next order of business, you can relax your hands a little bit. After we've had compassion for ourselves, we've owned it as a reflection. Now we bless it. We bless the circumstances. We bless the memories. We bless the people. We bless ourselves. And the reason for blessing it is because to bless something is to give goodness to it. To bless something is to give goodness to it. Do you know that when you give goodness to something, what happens? Goodness comes back. When we resist something, what happens? Resistance comes back. When we bless something, that blessing dissipates or releases our resistance to it. And it gives goodness from our heart to it, and it causes goodness that is already inherent within that event, that experience, that memory, that pain, that trauma, whatever it be. There is goodness held within it, and it allows that goodness to come back and reflect itself back to us. So taking this healing to another level deeper means to put an end to the resistance and the fear of it. It means to bless it. So we say, I give a blessing from my heart to this experience. Beautiful. Then we put our fingertips together, take that deep breath. Beautiful. Fingertips back together again. Another deep breath. Another deep breath. There you go. Those yawns are releasing. You're moving. You've just taken your healing to another level deeper. Notice how a little more relaxed you are, a little more composed, a little more present. Okay, so the next step of the healing octave is to accept it. To have acceptance for the experience, to have acceptance for yourself in the experience, having been a co-creator of it, and to have acceptance for all those who participated in it with you. I have acceptance for this entire experience now.
I have acceptance for this entire experience now.
Open the palms, breathe out. Once again. Once again. Now, to have acceptance for something is to accept divinity within the experience. Do you realize why you bring goodness out of something that's horrible, that's harmful, that's seemed to be so traumatic, so unpleasant, so unacceptable? The reason why goodness lives within it is because there is nothing but God in existence. Therefore, if something exists, if something moves, if something has animation to it, it is alive. And if it is alive, it is the presence of God. It has the presence of God within it. At the deepest level, the scientists have already determined that at the center of every atom there's nothing but resonance, but vibration. And what is vibration but perception? Perception causes a resonance. When you perceive something, you create an emotional experience with it. And that emotion, the emotion is actually the vibration of it. It is the light and sound of life. You don't have life without light and sound. It means you don't have life without vibration. So if you have life, you have God. It may be distorted, it may be misperceived, it may be misunderstood, but God is nonetheless in it. The God goddess within us all lives within that memory that you're now healing. And to bless it is to bring the goodness or godness out of it. To have acceptance for it is to accept the divine nature that lives within it as well. So I have acceptance for this entire experience within me now.
I have acceptance for this entire experience within me now.
Deep breath. You've just accepted another piece of your divine nature back. Now the next step is to adopt a new perception. A new perception. It is to adopt a new point of view. If previously you were angry and you felt victimized, now's the time to understand one of the three basic principles of life. Number one, you're innocent in the creation of it, and so is everyone else. That's the fundamental principle. And we get rid of our guilt and our shame and our blame of self and others, just by remembering the unconditional innocence of all life. And secondly, we remember the infinite creative power. We caused this. Everything we experience is the result of our perceptions. In other words, everyone sees something differently. Everyone sees it, perceives it differently. One person sees an event and creates joy out of it. One person sees the event and creates tears and pain and anger. So you have the option before you right now to choose a new perception. You have the option of choosing to give love to the situation or to continue to be barren there. If you continue to be barren without love in this moment, you'll have another experience of the same order. If you choose a new perception, you will create a new experience. This is because the laws of life are at work here. The law is the heart gives birth to an intent to create, and from that a desire to have the experience. That's the male and female of the heart. The intent is male, the desire is the female aspect. And from the heart is given birth, both the male and female, the mental vision of it and the perception of it, the blueprint. It's like building a house, you create those blueprints. That's the mental framework for this idea. The female automatically and simultaneously is generated into an emotional experience. And this is how life works. This is how materialization of events take place. You are the creator of them. It comes from your heart, and it eventually returns to your heart. And that's how we evolve. And with that, we gain the understandings, which is an aspect of heartfulness. So when the mind and the emotions give birth to the experience, and you give yourself the full-blown experience of something, that experience then becomes your teacher. And after it's completely over, providing you give yourself you don't stuff it or deny it or fail to allow it to flow through you, as long as you allow that flow, you will get to the other side of it. And like the wave of the ocean, that experience will fall back into the ocean and join your oneness. And from that, you will look back on the experience and gain the wisdom and insight that that experience was designed to provide you. The jewels of wisdom and insight. After you allow yourself the full experience of it. So if you're angry, be angry. If you're unhappy, be unhappy. With intent to heal it. Not with intent to justify your anger. With intent to move through it and therefore beyond it into something new. And once you've moved through it, now choose your new perception. What did you learn from that old experience? What is your next perception? What do you choose as your next intent to create? You decide that now. Do you choose to give birth to love here? Do you choose compassion instead of victimhood? Do you choose to recognize your power as a co-creator in life in this moment as well and take responsibility for it and then choose again? You have that option in this very moment with respect to the issue you choose to heal. So now make your choice and silently within yourself, I choose this new perception, and spell it out. I choose to respond like this from now on, in this moment, toward this event, toward this memory. You're giving birth to love in the barren areas of your heart right now. And now take that deep breath. Another deep breath. You're moving deeper each time. You're releasing more of the old charges, the old paradigm. Now realistically, when it feels safe, this is a time to have any kind of body motion, any kind of sound. Let's exercise this option of creating a tone. Because this is the time to express yourself, and expression resonates deeply into the cores of misperception and allows them to free themselves finally. Let's take a deep breath and make a tone of any sound exhaling. Beautiful. Again. Beautiful. One more time. Excellent. You notice how that relaxes you further? You've just taken your healing to another level. Does it feel better already? All right. Now the last step of the healing octave is to integrate with your vision. You remember the circle and the symbol that represented your healed state, completely healed? Draw that circle again. And your symbol. A few times just to resonate this new state of healing into your symbol. Notice how open your heart feels. Beautiful. Now, with that symbol, place it right over your heart. As you do this, affirm to yourself, I now give birth to love in this area of my life. Beautiful. Now expand that out and deep breathe. Hearn, how much time do we have? Okay, we have 5 minutes. Now what I would like us to do during the break, we're going to take a 10-minute break shortly, and then I'd like for everyone during that 10 minutes to imagine yourself going even deeper to a deeper level of healing and wholeness in this area or any other area that you choose. And during the 10-minute break, 2 or 3 people can come up to the table at a time and make an affirmation of intent to heal by taking a candle and lighting the candle and placing it on the sand. And inside, you're just saying, I have intent to heal this now. I have intent to heal this now. And you can take anything that you wish, any objective, any deep level healing issue, whatever. And what we'll do in the next hour is that we will apply a few more techniques that go even deeper than this. And we will resonate that. We'll do the heart presence technique and the soul presence technique and a few others. And we'll move deep into, we'll do some deep level healing in this area to give birth to love in that area as well. Does that sound good? All right, beautiful. All right, if you have complete acceptance for a certain experience at all levels of your being, it cannot help but manifest. The reason why we don't manifest is because we have pushes and pulls. Yes, I would like to create this, but some part of me doesn't believe it's possible, or some part of me doesn't really want to, and another part says, come on, what are you waiting for? Another part says, wait a minute, I'm afraid of that. You know, and you've got this push-pull. We've got this tug-of-war going inside, and that's the reason why it manifests somewhat, but not all the way, and we're wondering why. All right, deep level healing is about healing the root causes of a problem at all levels of our being. Deep level healing goes beyond the experiences with your parents and with people on the earth. It goes beyond, and yet it includes that, because this is reflective of a deeper cause. All of these experiences, from parentals all the way back, these are all reflective of deeper causes. It goes beyond past lives and future lives, because they again are reflective of deeper causes. It goes back into I'm about to lose it, huh? This dude's hot.
He's bending to the task.
Well, I don't know if we're going to save that or not. But the deep level healings are such that they go back to original cause. And original cause has taken place way back eons ago from your soul's descent, from soul birth or soul differentiation from the oneness forward. Usually at that point and what was ingrained in the divine nature prior to that, that experience and the following experiences as you descend through the planes of duality, through the mental plane, through the causal plane, through the emotional plane, through the physical plane. There are experiences that you as a soul have taken on, you've had, and imprints have been stored in your subconscious as a result of how you interpreted those experiences. An imprint is nothing but an interpretation. It's how we interpret. Now, interpretations can be changed. They can be improved on. They can be altered at will. However, in order to do so, it's necessary that we receive new light or new understanding, new insights about these circumstances. That's what it takes. Well, in some cases, the experiences that we had as a soul were so damaging that our receptive centers became unavailable. We could not receive. And so, deep level healing is about remembering that it is safe to receive, that what we experienced is not necessarily the truth of what is. Yes, it was reflective of our experiences, but it does not necessarily mean that if just because we experienced it, that it is true, that it is based on principle, the principles of life. So, it's a matter of differentiating or discerning between that which is real and that which is not. It's a matter of remembering the truth in every moment. If you have an experience of limitation or pain or trauma, it's time to remember the truth of your innocence, your infiniteness, and your oneness with all life. Even though the experience says different, even though the eyes tell you something else. You see, the evolution of the soul is about living by principle rather than by sight. Do you get that? To live by principle rather than by experience. It's not what we've experienced that's real, unless all of our perceptions are aligned with that which is genuinely true. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We'll give it its own space. There. Excellent. Got to keep the light burning. All right. So, we bless the candle and we bless the experience, because something good is always, there's always inherently something good in every situation, bar none. Bar none. Every situation has goodness like this. Okay, I'm going to let it cool off first. We're learning wisdom. We're going to let it get hard again. All right. Thank you. So, and it really is just like that. Was I guilty for failing to pay attention here, or for failing to really get ahead of the game there and take it out of the fire? No. It's like a child learning how to walk. You know, the child falls down in developing coordination and developing skill. The child is not guilty because he or she falls. All right. We are innocent even though we don't know everything there is to know, even though we don't get it right the first time or the 10,000th time. Does it really, really matter? It's all about the education of the soul. The unconditional innocence of all life is a fact. If we perceive that fact, it becomes our experience. You see? If we perceive the fact and accept it at all levels of our being, it becomes our experience as well. Why? Because perception creates reality. Perception determines our experiences. And perception is a choice, is it not? We choose it. And we can re-choose it at any moment. So it is that simple. However, it's got to be that simple at all levels. So our mind might choose it, and actually I would have to say some part of our mind chooses it. Because if we're having an emotional experience, there's some part of our mind that's not. We have a doubt, we have a fear, we have an uncertainty about that. We're not really sure that, really I'm an infinite being. Well, I'm not real sure about that one when I'm still trying to pay the rent, So how do you make that work? How do you integrate the truth of life into the moment where you're really wanting to manifest your reality and you want things to happen now rather than next year or 10 years or some lifetime from now? How do you make it happen? It's simple. You go inside and you find the inner resistance. The part of your mind that isn't yet in agreement with your vision. Some part is, some part isn't. So get in touch with it. Own it as a reflection. Open your heart and welcome that old perception back in. Now this is the heart presence technique. Very important part of the healing process. If I just make a mistake, I don't lambaste myself for it. That's not going to serve me. I turn it into something beautiful by embracing the mistake. And what happens when you add light to light that way? You have old light. The old light is, it's too hot to be in the middle of a bunch of candles. Okay? Or I thought it was okay, and it wasn't. And that's the old light, but now I have new light. So my new light is telling me to do something different, to make another choice, a new perception. To understand the laws of nature are at work here. And they work everywhere. I mean, if you're on the roof and you want to get down, you can try to walk off. If you don't know how to levitate, it could hurt. Okay, the law of nature is at work. Gravity is such as it is. Respect it, appreciate it, work with it. Let it work for you. Use a ladder. So, and the education of life, the education of the soul is about learning what these laws are and learning about physics and learning about what's possible and not possible and how to work within the material realm. All right? So you're going to make some mistakes, I hope. Let's make a lot of mistakes and be okay with it. Let's be okay. So, the healing of life is such that we have acceptance for a situation just as it is. We're over there fighting and killing. My God, haven't we got better things to do with our time and money and energy? So, what's the answer? Do we reject it? Do we cut that out of our life? Or do we embrace it and own it as a reflection of some part of us that's still wanting to solve problems with violence? I hate this. I wish he would die. I wish I could wring his neck. Do we not say things like that? All right. We still have violence as a solution. It's the TV solution, and we've all been programmed for that. It's time to reprogram our perceptions. And we do this by giving birth to love there. Well, we cannot give birth to love in an area where we still have rejection, where we still judge and condemn and hope to punish and hope to get revenge. That's not love. But love is having acceptance for the moment and adding light to light so that that moment is transformed. So if we are in a state of rage about the way the political system is happening, or we are in a state of rage about the way our personal life is going, do we reject the rage and say, oh, that's not spiritual, I'm supposed to not feel angry because, I'm God and I'm really, a divine creature, so I should never, never be upset or, unkind in any way. Do you know how unloving that is? That is a denial of what's actually going on inside, because the truth is you're seething with rage and you really want to express this but don't know what to do with it. So what happens? We suppress it, we deny it, we cut it out. I'm suggesting we do the opposite. We look at this, it hasn't worked yet, and if it hasn't worked yet, I suggest we consider doing the opposite. If rejecting these emotions or these thoughts or these experiences or these people hasn't really worked, what do you say we do the opposite? Let's try accepting it instead. Good idea? What do you say we have acceptance for our rage? Have acceptance for the fact that we feel that. It doesn't mean we're going to live forever with it. It's like the wave of an ocean. It's giving us an experience of our perceptions. We did create that. And we created this experience, this rage, because we perceived something like, I'm a victim here, or I'm not accepted, and I cannot express my truth here because they won't receive me if I say this. And so, or it won't sound very spiritual if I say this to somebody, or if I speak my truth here. And what happens? Then you suppress your truth. And what happens? The truth, the desire to express your truth, which is really a heart thing, gets denied. The heart becomes barren, and that desire to express truth basically descends in an experience and becomes anger, and then becomes rage. So the heart presence technique is going down and having and enveloping your rage and your terror and your fear and your anger and everything else that you find unacceptable within your own being. Remember, it's all about healing ourselves. This is not about getting someone else to change. It's about I change myself, and my little corner of the world changes with it, to the degree that I change, to the degree. And so I reach down and I embrace my rage. And I open my heart and I welcome it to return back to where it once came from. And you know what rage transforms into when you find acceptance for it? It transforms into the power to speak your truth with compassion. You see, when you add love, add light to your rage, the light that has been missing is your acceptance. When you add acceptance to it, it softens. It's like the rebellious child is acting up. If you'll sit down, hold that child's hands and look into his or her eyes and hug them or give them love energy, they will calm down. Rage will calm down when it realizes that finally it is loved, if it will receive that love. The receptive centers there have to be willing, open, and ready. So if necessary, move the rage emotionally. If it's not receiving love and acceptance, move it emotionally. Let that wave continue on its path. That's what emotional release is all about. But if you just do that, you're only getting half the story. You've got to take it all the way and change the perception there. We don't express emotion just to justify it. We express it with intent to love it into a transformation. See the difference? So I reach down and I love my rage. I have acceptance for it. And I open my heart and I energetically give it its original connection back into my heart. And what that does, right away, I am strengthened by my rage. I am empowered by it because its original, true, and rightful good function is now re-entered my being. It comes back. Remember, there's nothing but God in existence. Everything comes from the oneness. Rage is a twisted expression of oneness. It's a heartless expression of oneness. The answer is to put heart back into the equation, and it becomes that which serves you beneficially. Did you feel the difference in my tone of my voice when I integrated with my rage just now? I generally speak rather softly. That tells me I must have a lot of suppressed rage, because rage gives us the power, the impetus, the drive to speak up in the moment when it's important to do so. And it also gives us The other half of that equation is terror and fear. You know, there's a lot of talk about getting rid of our fears and releasing our fears. Release, release, release. Well, I'm saying let's not release, let's integrate. Do you know what fear becomes and terror becomes when you integrate your terror into your heart? Discernment. Fear is not a bad thing. But when it's connected to love, it teaches you how to act wisely in the moment. There are times not to speak, even though you feel like you want to say something, because love says, I have no attachment to whether another person causes themselves pain or whether they hear me or not. I'm not attached to that. However, my intent is to promote growth. And if this moment that person cannot receive what I have to say, I'm okay about being quiet. And when I'm feeling that a person cannot receive me, my fear says, which is not really fear, it's now transformed into discernment. My discernment says, well, just wait. Put out the intent for a moment to be right, for this knowledge or this wisdom or this insight to be shared, and wait for the right timing. I'm not suppressing anything. I'm simply co-creating a new kind of experience. You see? This is all about co-creating a new world. We're bringing heaven into earth. How? By bringing our heavenliness, our spiritual nature, into the earthiness and into the emotions, all of them, bar none. We're not to leave out a single emotion. We transform our experience, which is what emotion is giving us, by changing our perception, which is more causal than the emotions. By the way, emotions are never the problem. You know, the women have been taking a rap here, because us men have not been willing to accept responsibility. Our minds, men and women both have minds, but our minds as men, as a society, we are largely complicit in the emotional discord in the world. The discord, the emotional discord, is the reflection, guys, not the cause of the problem. They are reflecting either in an equal or an equal and opposite way. So that means that when we see an emotional display that's unpleasant or unhappy, then we want to own it as a reflection because it's there as a result of our thoughts. Women know this, and some women I've heard them say, I'm tired of carrying your emotional body. Does it sound familiar? It's because the guy's not willing to own their own feelings. And so they're feeling it, and when they stuff theirs, they feel suppressed, and then pretty soon the pressure builds up so much and they blow up. And the guy says, look, you're just not being spiritual. Why don't you just be like me and be stoic and be uninvolved and detached? And you think that's spiritual. Well, that detached, uninvolved, distanced kind of experience that is very common to most mentally oriented individuals, men and women alike, is a major cause of war, a major cause of problems in life, a major cause of disease, a major cause of breakups in marriages. So it's time for us guys to own the reflections here, all right? If a guy will take the initiative and change his thoughts, the woman cannot help but respond. Why? Because women tend to be reflective. They tend to reflect the content of the mental patterns that are put forth. They feel it, and they may or may not express it, but the truth is, there's a thought causing the experience, always. Now, there's a deeper level, and this is where the circle becomes complete, and that is the realization here that basically everything proceeds from the heart and everything returns to the heart. You know that? So the mind is really, the men are really reflecting the content of the heart, and the content of the heart is a mutual thing between men and women. It's the degree of union of the opposites. Heartfulness is by definition the combination of extreme opposites. It is the blending together of the mind and the emotions. That's why you have blue and you have yellow and you put them together, you create green, right? In the heart. It's the blending together. And if you do not have a blend, if you do not have acceptance, do you see? Then you have no love. You do not have heart. You cannot have heart without acceptance of the opposite of who and what you are. It's not possible. It's physically, by the laws of physics, it's not possible. Because the heart is that place of stillness and understanding. And in order to do that, it's like the center of the magnet, the North and South Pole. It's at the center. It's where the two are fully integrated, the North and the South Pole. All right. So it's important for us to integrate with the problems that we experience in life. We are here to integrate with them. So we integrate with our rage. We integrate with our fear. Bring it back into your heart. Oh my God, are you kidding? Bring into my heart the thing that I fear? Gee, many. That's crazy. It's healing. You know, it will calm your fears. It will put you in a place of power. The ability to co-create a new situation, this time with discernment that that fear is really designed to be. But terror paralyzes you, because terror is heartless. It has no acceptance for its own rage. And you combine rage and terror, and you bring them together into one, and you put both of those in your heart, and you have both the power to speak up in the moment, and you have the ability to speak wisely, and with the intent to promote growth, and whatever that means. And it comes out very natural. That's heart. It comes out with understanding. It comes out with acceptance. It comes out with love. You have just given birth to love in that barren area of your heart. So let's stand up, everyone, and we're going to do that exercise with your intent to heal. This is a brief exercise. Fingertips together, feeling your intent. Open your hearts. Feel the pain of it. Feel the anguish of your intent to heal. Feel the dredges of it. Go into the fear, into the anger of it, into the rage, into the terror of it, into the victimization, into all the negativity that's lodged within it according to whatever perceptions you may have had or currently have about it. And just be present with them, identify them or feel them somewhere in your being, and you'll probably feel them like a tension somewhere, or a disgust, or some huge blowout, something that doesn't feel normal. And now take a deep breath. Now open your heart. Just literally choose, because you're in control of yourself completely. If you're willing to take this risk, now by the way, no one has to do this. If you're still afraid or if something doesn't feel good or right to you, you do not have to perform this exercise. This is the heart presence technique. It's deep level healing. It's doing what we have yet to do. And we have yet to do it for reasons that we all have. So free will is in control here, always, always, always. Never give away your free will. So by choosing to open your heart, understand that God is love, and what you are bringing back is an aspect of God, an aspect of the God-Goddess divine nature within your own being. And so you are bringing back a piece of God when you bring back these uncomfortable feelings. So I'd like for you, if you will, open your heart like a big, beautiful rose blossoming, totally blossoming. And allow the heart presence to reach down and to embrace this uncomfortableness, this vision, this memory, this pain, this anguish, this anger, this terror, this rage. Feel it and allow it to saturate it like a water, like a river of love, saturating that area. Breathe, a yawn, deep breath. Good. Excellent. And now do the unthinkable. Bring that experience, just as it is, back into your heart. Let it become small, or whatever it takes to bring it energetically, the vibration, the resonance of it, back into your heart. Remember, you're bringing your perceptions of this experience back inside, and perception creates reality. So what we're saying here, feel free to move when this happens. Your body may want to, your spine may want to swirl around or do something. It doesn't matter. Just go with the flow here. Deep breaths and sound as you bring these memories, these experiences, and these perceptions of people back into your heart. Beautiful. Beautiful. You're giving birth to love here again. You might get lightheaded. That means you've just healed something very deep. If you feel like you have to sit down, by all means sit down. Deep level stuff can make you very lightheaded. You might feel very cool, or like a cool rushing water or breeze flowing through some area of your body. That means you just released something. Okay, everybody, feel free to have a seat anytime, and we'll continue on from there. Just adjust to that. And feel comfortable having just integrated with this aspect of your being. Do you feel light, dizzy? Some of you, I can feel that. Love is the only thing that heals. And now you know, you've got evidence of that. What we once did not have love for has not healed within us. And what we now choose to have love for and acceptance for, even as unpleasant as it is, it heals within us. This is the process of life. This is the evolution of the soul, is giving birth to love in the barren areas of our hearts. Believe me, it is a process. Someone said, it's not a problem, it's a, what was that? It's not a problem, it's a project. All right? To some degree, the deep levels of our being are a project. And believe me, it was about 30 years ago, I really wanted to start healing some stuff. And I went through several spiritual paths looking for some way to do it, but I couldn't find a single teacher or pastor or someone who was in that position teaching who was a living example of love. Now, there are many of them out there. I just didn't meet them. I'm not saying there are none. And so I said, well, if I can't find them, I guess I'm going to have to become one, because I knew I wasn't one myself. I had a lot to heal. And I began searching, and I went through several phases. And it wasn't until about 20 years later that I came across the realization that, because I launched an avid study into the meaning of forgiveness. I wanted to know how to release this resentment inside. I could say the words, I forgive you, but this hardness didn't go away. Why not? Why wasn't my heart open toward these people? Why was I still resenting them? Well, I realized that it was because I had no acceptance, and it was important for me to choose a new paradigm, and that I created that experience. I could change it at will. And that was my big light bulb, It was a very simple concept, but it was my big aha at the moment. I created these emotions. I created this attitude. I have control of it. I can change it at will. So I began the process of changing it, and I created an image of my ideal self. At the time, I called it my infinite self. I got the best experience of that I could possibly get into. And I began noticing this wonderful future me, so to speak, was very different from the me that I was having inside. And it was that contrast that showed me where to look and what to do and what to change. So I began integrating. I began blending one into the other. And interestingly, in the areas that I chose a new perception, the perception of this ideal self, interestingly, as I blended those two, not by rejecting one, surgically removing one and putting something else in, but just by blending those two with loving acceptance, I began to change. And I would breathe out just like you've been experiencing. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. These are some of the first deep level healings, the first healings that I've really gotten in these areas. And I would like to continue this. So I launched this avid inner healing experience day after day, 5, 10, 15 hours. And I wanted to go, I figured, well, 3 or 4 months, I should be enlightened. Lo and behold, 11 years later, I'm still working at it. But things have changed. So yes, it's a project and it's a process, and I'm grateful for that process, because by taking it step by step, I've learned the depths of the details. It's not wrong. I've learned to have acceptance for the process. It's not wrong to be imperfect. In fact, it's the imperfection that is absolutely perfect. It's a perfect reflection of where I'm at right now, of what I'm choosing as a perception. And to have acceptance for that is what frees us to take that next step. To not have acceptance for it frees us from taking the next step, and we do a repeat of the same old song over and over and over again until we get the message that it's not rejection that heals, it's love that heals. I will love my pain into a transformation. I will choose a new perception here, now, not tomorrow. I'm not going to put it off. I'm not going to do it next year. I'm not going to save it for my next lifetime or whatever. Now, right in this moment. You know, it only takes a few seconds to do that. You've only been here an hour and a half, roughly. How much healing have you already experienced? Even though I've talked a lot. Okay, you've experienced a depth of healing that you might not have experienced for the last 10 lifetimes. Do you know how easy this is? Some of these areas that you're touching into are soul level causes. If you finally remember an inkling of your innocence, that's something that was incorporated way, way back when. That somehow you thought as a soul you were guilty of something or could be guilty of something, and you began to judge yourself and then judge others. And you began to create this narrowing kind of experience until you landed on earth and you had this experience of, I am not worthy of divine nature, and somehow I've got to please this God to be acceptable. That's a very big misconcept. You know what unconditional love is? Unconditional. There are no conditions required to be loved. Do you think you have to be good enough? No. You are already good enough by nature, because you are inherent goodness, godness at every cell, at the center of every cell of your being. That's who and what you are. So you don't have to do anything to be loved or accepted or to be good. You just simply perceive that you are and let it express naturally. And change your paradigm, change your perceptions in all of those areas, and you become transformed in those areas. So we're talking about doing it at all levels of our being. Deep breath. So it's a process, it's a project. Thank God, because we're learning a whole lot along the way. It's a good process. Have acceptance for it. All the imperfections are perfect. They are a perfect reflection of myself. In this moment, it's showing me what I've been thinking. Now that I see it, I have the power as a co-creator, a divine co-creator with nature, to change it. And here's how we do it. Take that vision again. Your wholeness. You choose to be whole. You are now complete. You are completely at peace in this area of your life. Integrate that also into your heart. You see, you felt yourself distant from that vision, from that wholeness. Bring the goodness into your heart too. You didn't feel like you were worthy of it because you had judged yourself. But you are worthy of it because you are goodness itself at the depths of your being. This is who and what you are. You are love. So allow yourself, perceive the love that you are, and you become so. Perception creates reality. Open your heart, embrace your wholeness, love your wholeness, Integrate that wholeness. Reach up, find that ideal self, that ideal image of yourself, your beautiful you, and surround it with your heart. Envelop it like a river of love. Just saturate it like a sponge. It pulls up and soaks up your love. Then bring it, make it small, bring it in your heart. Give it its original connection there. Let it move into your heart again. Deep breath. Now we're just about to get high here because we're going to step the vibration up a little bit. This time we're going to bring our soul presence in this area. We're going to have acceptance for our soul. Your soul is your most illuminated aspect of your being. It is the part of you that still lives, by the way, and it is very much connected to who and what you are here now, and desires to be fully incarnate in your body with you, not by you stepping out and that coming in, but by you staying in and that coming in and integrating. So all it takes is for you to become accepting of your highest state of illumination. And to the degree that you allow this presence to infill you, which is your soul, by the way, this is not some other being and not some divine master, it's your master, the master within you. This is your soul that is already completely connected to spirit, that is already aware of the oneness with all of life, that is already and does live in the infiniteness of its own self, that already recognizes and lives within the unconditional innocence of itself and all others. This is the part of you that's already there. The transformation of life is about simply remembering who we are at the highest levels or any level that we wish and having acceptance for it here. Just have acceptance for it. Open your heart, bring it in. Deep breath. And affirm to yourself, I am soul presence here now. I am soul presence here now. I am soul presence here now. How does that feel? This is more like the real you, is it not? Does it not bring you grounded and lifted at the same time? Allowing your soul to inhabit your heart brings birth to love in those areas. Allowing your soul to inhabit these areas of your intent to heal. And choose you have the option here to choose any level of new perception that you wish. If you want to take it to the deepest or the highest or the greatest or the most healed and most complete level, take it to the perceptions that your soul already has. Take it to the principles that your soul has already ingrained in itself, it already knows and lives within. This is your illuminated self. All you have to do is be accepting of it and bring it in, and it changes you. I am soul presence here now. I am soul presence here now. I am soul presence here now.
I am soul presence here now.
I am soul presence here now.
I am soul presence here now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here, now.
I choose to give birth to the love of my soul here, now.
And now go into silence and feel this. For a few minutes, we're going to be silent. Breathe deeply as necessary to release what's coming up. And feel the presence of your soul here in your body, in your life, in all the areas of your intent to heal. Now. Feel the heat in the room. Feel yourself grounded. Feel yourself lifted. Your souls are present. This is what it means to bring heaven to earth. Does it feel good? Do you think the earth might enjoy this if we were to be this way all the time? Think we could put an end to war, at least in our own lives? That will have a powerful influence upon political events. They cannot help but change if the people will change first. They are nothing but our reflection. Peace within our own hearts creates peace within the world. And giving birth to love in the barren areas of our hearts is the way to accomplish that peace. Choose love. That's all. So there are some things at the back. There is a CD that goes through this process in brief. And in the back, if you'd like, it's $25, a 2-CD set. If you'd like to sign up on the gathering for my monthly gathering notice, it's usually about an email, several pages of email teachings about the topic. And this month again was about giving birth to love. There's a wide variety of subjects that come up and we write about it, and then we experience that during the gatherings. You're welcome to sign up, and once a month you'll get these notices. If you want to schedule private sessions, feel free. Just give me a call. And in a couple of weeks when I get back from the East Coast, then we can hook up and do some sessions, private sessions. Feel free, all the literature is back there in the back. I really appreciate you guys coming. You've done an excellent job. You've got such beautiful hearts and light everywhere. You've really lit up this room. You've healed a lot. I appreciate you.
RVML Resource Center is a volunteer-operated federal 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization. RVML is dedicated to providing easy access to a comprehensive collection of information on a variety of metaphysical, spiritual, and personal development subjects. RVML accepts and appreciates all donations. Material and monetary contributions are fully tax deductible. This recording is not copyrighted and permission is granted to broadcast, exhibit, or duplicate all or part of this program for non-commercial educational purposes. This live presentation was organized and presented by the Rogue Valley Metaphysical Library and Event Center. For more information, please visit rvml.org.